Georgia, Georgia. There are mornings where I drive something conventional, and then there are rather unconventional mornings where I drive something different. A rental car, for example, and not just any rental car this time, but something slightly amusing. That's right, I'm in a Mustang, and a fairly basic one at that, so you're probably wondering what's so amusing about it. Well, hang out as I hop in this car, get myself comfortable, and push the on button to get us started, and I'll answer that question for you. Alright everybody, welcome to another Proper Style review. I am in Georgia, and basically, since I'm here for a wedding, had to rent a car. And I figured if I'm going to rent a car, which I don't usually do, I should rent something amusing. And if I'm going to rent something amusing, I may as well do a review video. Now, they had a Corvette C7, but unfortunately it was rented out. And they had Camaro SS's. They were going to be an extra $50 a day. And the website made me believe that it was going to be the previous model Camaro. So I didn't want to fork over the cash, and lo and behold, when I got out in the garage, of course, it was the brand new, you know, Corvette powered Camaro, and so I got stuck without it. But I'm here in the Mustang. It's a new Mustang. It's real nice looking. It's all black on black the way it should be. And this car is a V6 model. You know what, they'll usually rent you. Right now the V6 is kind of unloved. It's always been unloved. The V8 has always overshadowed it, and now it's being overshadowed by both the V8 and the EcoBoost 4-cylinder turbo. So I figure a V6 review would be a little unique, would be different. No one really drives this car right now. You know, no one talks about it on YouTube, and it's actually worth talking about. It's a pretty peppy V6. It's rev happy for what it is, and it definitely gets out of its own way. Of course, it's not going to be a neck snapper by any means. This is, after all, a fairly portly car, but it is very responsive and it's very nice. Definitely faster than most things on the road. The car itself has a very good ride. It's comfortable. I'm comfortable in the seat. I know from driving it last night for over an hour that the bolster on my left leg is not the greatest, mostly because it's forcing your legs to be too close together, and no one really sits like that. You really have to, you know, spread open a little more, I think. And I'm getting a phone call. So anywho, just looking around this car. It's got a pretty decent interior. The Mustang's interior has never been anything remarkable. It's usually actually pretty sorry. This one's very nice, symmetrical layout, because for the first time they're offering it in a right-hand drive. I don't like the fake carbon fiber pattern. I think car manufacturers are like, carbon fiber all of the things, even if we don't use real carbon fiber. And then it's like, you know, we know it's plastic. It's not nice. Honda has this like rubber thing they put on the dashboard that has like a leather texture and even has like faux stitching on it. Like, that would have actually been nicer than this. Oh hey, it's a Fiat dealer and they have the new Fiat Miatas. Why would you want a more expensive and uglier Miata? I don't get it. But anyway, so anywho, I'm out here in Georgia, Buford, having a good time in this car. About the only downer is that whoever rented this prior smoked in it. I'm pretty sure, and pretty sure that wasn't cigarettes they were smoking, but anywho, horrible. Who does that in a rental car? Who does that, period? So, anywho, like I was saying, it's a pretty interesting car. The gauges say revolutions per minute, and then your velocity here says ground speed, which is pretty funny, you know, because you're flying low. Car itself is pretty sweet, like I was saying. It's mostly a very comfortable interior. I don't personally see too much wrong with it. Materials are not too bad. Everything that you touch and interact with feels pretty good. Let me see. Visibility out of it is great, especially compared to the Camaro, which I very briefly sat in yesterday, which was bad. I don't think bad enough for every single automotive reviewer to harp on it so severely. I think it's just they need something to say, right? It's bad, but it's not the end of the world. This car obviously has better visibility while still keeping the slim window look, so it's not bad. Ford did a good job of that. I do not like how long the hood is, and the fact that it's kind of hard to place like where the front of the car is on the road. Like, I can see the hood a lot, and I can see the little sort of ridges in the hood, I guess you'd call them, but it's hard to place like where the front of the car is. I know where it is this way. Where the front of it ends is kind of hard to tell, but that's something you get used to. Again, not the end of the world, and if you want a sports car, there are compromises to be made, and the Mustang for once is a sports car, right? It's got an independent rear suspension, you know, 1990s called, and you know, they got their IRS, which everyone has been clamoring for forever. Ford claimed it raised the cost. Not sure how, because everyone else has sold us an independent rear suspension for the same price for the longest time. You know, the Chevy Camaro came out with it, you know, the SS and the regular ones from the retro style model. And I mean, my 1990 Mazda Miata has an independent rear suspension. It's not fancy by any means. Alright, hopefully they have a gas station near here so I can get gas before I return my rental. Oh yes, there's a gas station right there. I've not yet figured out the Bluetooth in here because I basically got this car at like, I don't know, 12 o'clock at night and drove through Georgia to get to my cousin's house. My plane was delayed, so I haven't really, fortunately, had the time to get to know this car as much as I'd like to, but so far I've enjoyed it. It's definitely got a nicer interior than most cars that are in the category and are similarly priced. Camaro's interior was a little bit flashier, I think, you know, with the big screen there. This is a very basic model, so it's got the tiny screen and the regular radio. I didn't opt for any of the flashy GPS or whatever the heck else, satellite radio. I don't care for it. I just want to enjoy the car. Let's see, door panels, hard plastic, but sort of soft to the touch. It's got a nice texture on it. Upholstery here, where you rest your arm, is it's like a vinyl material with a leather print on it. It's comfortable. Same thing with the center console, where you have your arm here on the lid. It's wrapped up. It's got some USBs in here. It's got what used to be called a cigarette lighter. It is now just a power outlet. It's got another power outlet and another USB over here in front. And other than that, it's your basic automatic rental. Fairly straightforward to drive, fairly easy to understand. It'd be cool if I could link my phone up, but let's see what's on the radio.
Dresses and shorts. Then we started getting 6 weeks or so.
A lot of people.
I got the keys to more success. We the best. Rock Nation. Free band. Heard the bag alert, alert, alert. I heard it, heard it, heard it, heard it. Your boy Reese right here, man.
Random secret, if you don't know, if you go to Atlanta or Georgia in general, anywhere near Atlanta, every radio station will play Straight Up Future and Young Thug back to back to back. Like, you would not believe. Like, Future is a hero here. He doesn't even speak English, but you know, he's a hero in the South somewhere. It's pretty freaking funny. I got the keys. Maybe he's speaking English, he just has to enunciate better, but anywho, I digress. Oh man, it's a very nice area, a lot of good curvy roads. It's a shame I won't have this car for too long. I've got this wedding I gotta go to, and I'm actually gonna return this and ride with my cousin, so I'm not gonna be able to vlog it on any of these curvy roads. I did punch it last night a couple times on the highway. It pulls really well. You know, again, it's not going to be the V8, but it definitely pulls really, really well. I was able to shoot up that on-ramp, You know, there's some cars trying to keep me from getting in ahead of them, and they didn't manage it. So it's definitely got plenty of power. It feels pretty good. I'm pretty sure that if people boost these things, you know, turbo supercharge, or even just spray NOS in them, it's pretty damn quick. Like, you could have fun in this car, and it's probably not as heavy as the V8 one. So you might be able to have a better handling machine if you sit through and sort the suspension out, you know, get the right coilovers, wheels and tires, sway bars and bushings. You could probably make a pretty nice corner monster out of this. It's got very decent front axle grip, which I noticed in the corners. It's not as like floaty as I'm used to with Mustangs of the past, but granted, this is a brand new Mustang, and I've predominantly driven fairly old Mustangs that are unexciting suspension wise. Like, I drove like a 90s era Cobra and a GT, and both of them were like great motors and absolutely terrible suspension. They felt floaty and horrible. This car, on the other hand, is nice and planted. It performs well, feels good, definitely turns really well, and it responds in a really nice way. Every time I tap that accelerator, it goes. And I'm at the rental car, so it's about time to return this little monster. But I'm gonna tell my cousin that I'm gonna go get some gas real quick. Hey, ahora se me ocurre que ya se comió un poco de gasolina y yo dije que lo iba a regresar lleno. ¿Dónde está la gasolinera? ¿Hay una cerca? ¿De qué lado? ¿Vamos de un pronto, sí? Here we have a Honda Accord. It has a Takeda intake. Interesting secret about driving this car. Because you have such a long hood, even though it turns quite a bit and it turns pretty tightly, you probably don't make full use of its turning capabilities because you're worried about hitting the front end on something. So it would definitely be nice if they would either shorten it somehow or provide some sort of technological means like cameras for you to know where your front end is. Of course, this is again a very mild gripe, because once you're used to the car, that goes away. You will have a sense of, you know, where the front end is located. So that I don't foresee that being a huge issue, unless you're a whiny crybaby like most automotive journalists. We're a bunch of whiny crybabies, let's be real. I can't see out of the Camaro. Oh my god, it's so hard to see. I'm gonna die. It's like, just look out of it, you know, get used to it, stop being a punk. Learn your car, learn its proportions, and then you'll be able to park it and do things in it. And granted, automotive journalists have their cars for a very short period of time. I have this car for a very short period of time. So I understand the initial frustration. However, it's not as big of a deal as they tend to make it. Let's put some gas in this sucker. I do not know if this thing demands premium or not, but I'm going to use premium just in case. Just in case. I got the keys. My boy Future. Interesting question. Where is the button that opens the fuel door on the new Mustang? I do not know. And I don't see it. Oh, modern cars. Maybe it wouldn't be the same lever from the hood in the other direction, would it? I don't see anything here. How to open the fuel door on this Mustang? Nice. Yo, someone did a number on this car. They left chocolate in it. They smoked the weed in here. Okay. Where? There is no button for the fuel door. You push the fuel door in and it pops open, and it doesn't have a gas cap. Alright, we have a full tank of gas and now we can roll. Let's do this. AC in here is spectacular, by the way. Will freeze your bones, will chill them, will chill your bones. And you know, overall I have to say, this interior may not be the leather and it may not be the flashiest, but I suspect that if an Englishman were to sit inside of it, he would find that it's quite tolerable. Not the best, of course, but certainly tolerable. Much better than American offerings of the past. It's very, very nice. It's rather civilized. In general, I think a proper Englishman would find that this car is rather civilized. It's very nice. I can sip my martini shaken not stirred and then open this car, look like an international man of mystery. It's not bad. Total douchebaggery. Alright. Let's see. There's so many hills. I really, really should rent this car for longer and go vlog it. Man, people have... The thing I hate about rentals is like people abuse these poor things, and it's like, Jesus. Yeah, this thing is fast. It's definitely a pretty sweet V6, and it actually sounds good. It sounds less like a V6 and more like a small V8. Why am I so popular today?